Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night.
Good night, Malaysian 370.
Breaking news tonight, a Malaysia Airlines flight with 239 people on board, including 4 Americans, has gone missing.
From the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
Okay. Oh, the sign is back. We're back, everybody. Oh, guys, I was having technical difficulties. It has been a day, chat. 8 hours of work, and then straight into a live interview, and then straight into a live stream. I'm a machine, chat. I'm a machine, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back to what are we calling ourselves now? Whatever. Our live stream. Okay, I was in Colorado. Colorado, everybody. I was hanging out in Colorado. I went on the Gaia's Believe It or Not. Is that what it's called? Ripley's Believe It or Not show? I don't even know what it was. The one with George Norrie. And what I want to say about Gaia is that they are amazing. Wow. Holy shit, Gaia, if you want to invite me back anytime, woo, they know how to treat people. That was the nicest hotel. They had a sauna and a spa. I was like, okay. Yeah. And because I'm not going to say where, but basically I managed to meet up with Clayton Morris at his at a studio of his, and I didn't expect that, but I ran into Eric Hecker. Envision this. First night I get there, I walk in the hotel after getting some food, and there's Eric Hecker in the hallway in the lobby. I'm going, and he's got the vest on. He's got the same jacket he always wears. And in my mind, I'm going, how is that Eric Hecker in front of me? And then I'm like, Eric? And so, we, shook hands and chatted a little bit. And Eric, he told me he was there for the same reason, of course. Like, we were filming on the same day, back to back. And he tells me that, Clayton Morris lives nearby. Or, let's say, I'm not going to say nearby, but somewhere. And, we had the day, the afternoon off. So we went and drove out to meet up with Clayton, and we recorded. We recorded a segment. Each of us did. So you guys should, I think they're going to try to drop it tomorrow. So if you're interested in more content, if you have not had enough planes being teleported, actually, it was really good. Like, I kind of get a feeling like when it's going to be good or not. And I think the redacted one's going to be really good. Like, it's just him and I just having a normal conversation about, what all this stuff means and what it can lead to, So check that out. I'll definitely, post it once I see it go. Okay. Jimmy Dore. That was really good. I liked what I did. So I could tell that the physics and science was going over him a little bit, which was fine. I mean, he even said that in the middle of the interview. If you guys were not listening and watching, you should be able to find a link Actually, I think he paywalls his stuff. We'll try to figure out where if we can find the clip to it. But did a segment. Kurt Metzger has basically been going to bat for the videos behind the scenes, and I appreciate that. And so I did a segment, and basically we're at the point where, look, cards are on the table, man. Flip them over. What do we got? Enough bullshit. Enough bullshit. Enough. Some VFX artists said that this isn't real. Yeah. Okay. Fuck off. We're past that. Way past that. Okay. We found way too much shit. You're not going to gaslight us. It's not how it's going to work anymore. So, but at the same time, on the flip side, we have to be careful how fast this ball is rolling here, chat. We got to be careful how fast this ball is rolling. I'm a brave guy, but you corner a wounded animal and it tends to strike. So, and also, I'm pretty sure we're going to destroy ourselves. You guys hear me when I say this, right? Like, we're going to destroy ourselves with this technology. Okay, I just want to make sure you guys are hearing me. Maybe because maybe the words are coming out differently. I've been saying we are going to destroy ourselves with this technology. So by us pushing this, technically you could say that we are responsible for accelerating that destruction. Maybe we just don't think about that. Okay. Everybody's yelling for a Discord invite. Okay. Relax. Yeah, the U.S. Navy has done a lot of shit. So there would be a very real scenario where they could blame MH370 on, they shot it down or something like that. Now, and thank you, Bernardo, for that donation. Now, I've said this, chat, I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again and probably several more times after this. If I was the CIA, my cover story would have been way better than the bullshit cover story that the U.S. government went with MH370. Like, literally, they just sprinkled some crack and were like, oh, yeah, there's these satellite pings. Like, oh, turns out the guy, somebody on the plane, turned the computer back on. And it turns out these satellite pings, they say, the plane went in the middle of nowhere. That's the cover story for MH370. They were just like, yeah, it went over that way. And we never found anything. My cover story would have been, there were 2 Iranian passengers on the plane. Obviously, Iran did this because they hate our freedoms. It's honestly, it's just look, 2 Iranians on the plane. They had fake passports. They changed their facial appearances. They hate our Western freedoms. It's so obvious that they're the ones responsible. Insert, generic statement in the middle. Profit. No one will question it. No one in the world. They'd be like, yeah, absolutely. Iran, they took the plane. Honestly, even better. They would say Iran, they flew the plane to Iran and Iran stole it and they did something to it. And Iran would be like, what do you mean? What the fuck are you talking about? No plane landed in our country. And we'd be like, then look at that Iranian state-sponsored disinformation. Once again, just pushing their state-sponsored disinformation lies on TV. I'm telling you, man. Just wait. When I become a CIA propagandist, y'all are fucked. I'm going to have you guys gaslit all up and down. You're not going to know what's real, what's not real. We're going to have every alien type there is. I've told you guys this repeatedly. We'll have every single alien. All the UFO community will be eaten out of my hands. Ashton, please. I want a purple one with a bigger butt. I got you. I got you. I got you, UFO woke dazzle guy, whatever his name is. I know that he's going to be the one who wants that shit. Okay. Oh, and for the record, I rarely lie, but I'm a really good liar, guys. If I want to be, which I don't. Okay, guys, what are we doing tonight? Chat, two big things I want to talk about tonight. One is fusion, and the second one I want to talk about. What's this fucking microphone chat? I'm gonna crash out on this microphone tonight if it changes the volume again automatically on me. Fusion is one thing. The second thing I want to talk about tonight is coherent Matterwave beams. Yes, we're talking about some Star Trek shit tonight that nobody's ever heard of before. No one's ever heard of, that you're only going to hear about on this channel, and maybe Bob Greenyer, maybe Burn Eye, and Alien Science. Basically, not a lot of people. Thank you, Emptepe Slow. And also, shout out to my followers on Pilled, specifically Sean Joe, who just gifted me a cookie, which I don't know what that means. I've got too much boomer in me to understand what emojis are. Do I have to go, that's a delicious cookie. That's a delicious cookie. I sure as hell hope not. And then I also want to discuss the NG8 Fusion demo. And yeah, that's about it. So, fusion research, guys. I was watching a Sabine Hassenfelder video. If you're not familiar with Sabine Hassenfelder, she is one of our... if you don't know who she is the one I have selected to be the warrior princess for 0 point energy. Why? Because she's a badass German, badass German bitch who doesn't take shit from anybody. And she hates academia as well. So she's absolutely perfect to be the avatar for our righteous destruction that is going to tear down academia. We just have to get her convinced that space is not empty. And then it's basically just GG from there. Anyway, I can already tell we've planted the seed of doubt. Sabine Hassenfelder doesn't even know, but the ZPE, seed of doubt, has been planted in her mind. I can just tell based on her videos that she's posting. And she did a video yesterday or whatever, 2 days ago, I don't know when it was, about fusion. Another one about fusion. And actually, she was pretty high on fusion. She was saying that, they're probably going to get there. Which is making me realize, like, she's realizing, like, people are out there talking about fusion is real and it's going to happen. But the part that really stuck out to me was this video clip that we're going to play right here. This video clip, this is actually the craziest shit I've ever seen Sabine do, period. Like, here you go.
3 Stellarator companies publishing their design plans at pretty much the same time. Coincidence? I think not. I suspect that the Stellarator community is small and tightly connected, and they all know to some extent what the rest is doing. I find this remarkable for 2 reasons. The first is the rapid rise of Stellarators as a serious contender and perhaps even the frontrunner in fusion. The second reason I find this interesting is that these are private companies, but they publish their design plans and, at least to some extent, their code. This is certainly partly to make investors confident, but I think it's also partly because the researchers who work on it want to get rich, yes, but they know they're well ahead in engineering anyway, and they want the entire world to be able to reproduce it at some point. That's what progress looks like. It used to take a security clearance to see a fusion design. Now it just takes a Wi-Fi connection.
That's what we're calling progress? We're calling giving the masses some scraps? Here's a little bit of broken-ass fusion that we don't need anymore. We're so far ahead on fusion, you can have the Stellarator design. We don't need the shitty Stellarator design. We'll take $100 billion and you can have this shitty Stellarator. It'll be a little bit more advanced than your fossil fuel technology. Yeah, guys, that's progress. We're calling that progress now. Holy shit, that was quite the clip. I did not think Sabine was going to come out and just start going full conspiracy theory and start going, oh, look, it looks like this is kind of odd. All three of these private companies at the same time are all releasing papers saying, here you go. Here's how to make a Stellarator fusion reactor. Isn't that isn't that weird? She's right. That is so weird. 3 different companies, all at the same time, all published scientific papers going, here you go. If you do a Stellarator, you can get fusion to work. Who's invested in those companies? How many guesses do you need, chat? How many guesses do you need, chat? Go ahead, guess. Who do you think is invested in these companies that this is obviously we're just speculating here for legal purposes that they may or may not have super more advanced fusion research, but they're just giving out the Stellarator stuff publicly. How many guesses does it take? Only takes one, chat. Only takes one. Only one guess is all it ever takes. Bill motherfucking Gates. How in the hell is Bill Gates? And he's also connected to Commonwealth Fusion as well, but he's also connected to one of those 3 Stellarator fusion companies. You guys are probably also correct with BlackRock. To be perfectly honest with you, I didn't even go look because I was just so certain that BlackRock must be connected to one of those 3 companies. I was like, it just kind of goes without saying. I don't even feel like we even need to look. That's how certain I am. But I did check Bill Gates is actually true. So what honestly, guys, I'm going full conspiracy on this one. I'm smelling fire. I'm smelling smoke here. Like 3 companies are all released their design for their Stellarator fusion all at the same time. And like Sabine said, it feels like why would you do that if you're a private company? Why would you do that? Because you have something way better. That's just obsolete shit. That's the reason why you do that. Because you're not losing any competitive advantage because it's just old stuff. And the fact that they're working together too. They're working together like they know they're all like geez, I'm struggling today. Now cooperating, conspiring, whatever together, colluding. They're colluding together, chat. Isn't that suspicious? It's really suspicious. So guess what? I looked at the comments. I was like, okay, I want to see the comments on this. In fact, I want to go see if it's still up. I actually want to go see if this is still up right now. Hold on a second. I took screenshots just in case. Because the top comment was really weird, man. Let me see if it's still up. Okay, there it is. I thought it was deleted for a second. There we go. And yes, I did comment here. I'm not trying to hide. Oh wait, you guys can't see it. There you go. Okay. So this guy, Alan G. Goodman. Hi, Sabine. I'm a co-author of Proxima Fusion's Stellaris paper. So this is one of these 3 companies. And a Stellarator physicist at the Max Planck Institute for Plasma Physics in Greifswald. A few notes. Stellarator design hasn't been solved by machine learning, but has been significantly improved by faster computers and a better understanding of plasma physics. None of these papers use machine learning. Let me just stop him right there. What? Is this weird to anybody else? Max Planck Institute is, one of the most major prestige things. And this is one of the 3 companies coming out, and like Sabine's video is other than the end there, she's basically saying like she's really high on it. She's saying this looks good. And the person's coming out and like trying to like fact check her, trying to say like, no, you're not right about how good we are. It doesn't add up. Like, for example, this is why I wanted to compare and contrast this to the NG8 demonstration. The NG8 guys, obviously they want marketing for their stuff, which is fair. I get it. It doesn't mean that they're legit or not legit. Everybody needs money to make the world go around and for their research and to develop their new product. And for them, it was like they want to know when the video I'm going to make is going to come out because they want to know they're going to be marketing for it. You know, they want to, they want to promote it as well. In this video, in that response is almost like they're upset that Sabine's coming out and like telling people that their stuff's going to work. It's like the opposite reaction. Like you would think that somebody would respond and be like, hey, thanks for promoting our thing. That's awesome. I appreciate it. Instead, it's like, hey, you got some things wrong. I'm one of these people. And by the way, also, here's the other part of it. We didn't use AI. Why are you saying, people, that we used machine learning? None of us used machine learning. Stop saying that we used machine learning. Like, what? Why are you so focused on the machine learning part? Who cares that she had a gaffe and she said machine learning when it wasn't machine learning? Why did she say machine learning? Because why wouldn't they be using AI to like confine the plasma with magnetic fields? They should be. Like that was like a really smart use of AI, I would think, and an obvious one. And obviously that's what Sabine was thinking when she said it. She just assumed they must have be using AI to get the magnetic fields right. And in response, one of the three companies is like, no, we didn't use AI. There's no AI being used. What? I would imagine the response is like, oh, we want to use AI, but the technology's not there yet, and we're planning on using it, or like we've been using it, but instead, like, and it's not even just that one. He's also speaking for the other companies too. He's speaking for the other companies saying, none of us are using machine learning. What? That's just so bizarre. And then you think, okay, well, now let's put this in context. Okay, they're saying they didn't use machine learning, and Sabine just a second ago said, doesn't this feel like they have something more advanced and they're just saying, here you go, civilization, you can have some dregs of this technology? Because yes, that's exactly what's going on. They've used AI to stabilize plasma who knows how long ago. They're hiding plasma orbs that are coherent, and they're going to give us some shitty-ass Stellarator fusion. And everybody's going to go, we're so good. Look at humanity. We made fusion happen in, what is this one? A twisty donut. We made a French donut fusion. Turns out French donut was the secret to make a tiny bit of excess fusion energy. Just like the people clap when they see the rocket go in the sky. Yay! Another rocket! I can already see it happening. And you guys are going to be here watching my live streams while I'm ranting at them, while they clap about their stupid, twisty French donut. Okay. The NG8 Fusion demo. Definitely recommend you guys check it out if you haven't. So, as I said before, and these are my true impressions of the demonstration and the technology, is that my feeling was when I went in, I was kind of concerned that they were like just using me for marketing. But at the same time, like I said, I don't really care if people do, because again, at the end of the day, everybody's got to make money. Everybody's got to eat in this world. But I want to make sure their stuff is legit at the same time. So I was very conscious about in the demo, I want to understand how it works. That was kind of my viewpoint going into the demonstration. And so when I went in, I would say I was probably like, 60-40. Like I'm pretty comfortable with their stuff, but could be some kind of non, malicious ruse, or maybe it just doesn't work. Who knows? That was my thought. And as it kind of went on with the demonstration, the numbers were on the screen for the coefficient of performance. I asked questions about like, how are they measuring that? Like, what's the accuracy of the measurements? And I'm not qualified to judge that, but looking at the numbers on the screen, the numbers seem to be like, they add up correctly based if those numbers are real. Which would implicate that or imply that there is a coefficient of performance in terms of heat. So this thing is giving off excess energy in the form of heat. But now the trick there is, okay, well, now you need the heat to boil some water. That's all, because that's what you're going to do with it, right? You're going to use the heat to boil water to produce energy the same way we do right now, if you're going to get excess heat. Otherwise, you need excess electricity. And so what we're saying here is that the form of energy that comes off the device is important. How are you collecting that energy and what efficiency? So even if you're getting COP3, you might not be getting coefficient or performance more than 1 after you have to convert it back into, steam and boil water and blah, blah, blah. If you can use the heat directly, or use the excess energy directly, that is the most ideal circumstance. So after the numbers and the math, I said, okay, I wanted to have a physics conversation with them. And this is the part where my confidence grew quite a bit. Because not only did they explain the physics in the way that I was sort of expecting it to align based on like Ken Shoulders' research, based on the stabilization scientific paper, Force-Free Time Harmonic Plasmoids by Jack Machampian. But then they also taught me some stuff. The big breakthrough, and it was funny to watch. I strongly recommend you guys watch the interview. I'll put a link to it in the description after the live stream tonight. You can see my face go when they start to mention Randall Mills and the hydrino and the negative energy states. Because the explanation of the hydrino and the negative energy states was just conceptually exactly what we were looking for. Like a way to actually explain on the quantum mechanical level what's really going on. It's one thing to say they made a wormhole and teleported the plane. Okay, how? And then you say, okay, well, they used a gravity beam. And they used their gravity beams and they triangulated their gravity beams. And people say, okay, how? How do you make a gravity beam? And eventually you get to a point where it's how does this work on the quantum mechanical level? And now we have an answer to that. And so right after that interview, after I learned about Randall Mills, I started digging into the hydrino thing. I was like, whoa, like this is either exactly correct or it's, the same underlying physics. Like this guy's done experiments and he's found the physics of 0-point energy and he's just calling it something else. That's basically what I concluded. So from the ENG8 interview, I found this whole like existing scientific and experimentally supported physics that show energy states of the hydrogen atom, our equilibrium state, can be lowered. And now, of course, why would I get excited about that, chat? Because I'm going on podcasts everywhere I can go saying there's this 0-point energy and we can tap into it. We can tap into it, tap into the negative energy states, and it'll bounce back. And I didn't know, like, how much can you tap into? How does that work, the tapping into process? It turns out, according to Randall Mills, there are discrete levels that you can jump down to. It's not a continuous spectrum. So I can't just bend down as much as I want. I have to jump down a level like this. And that's how it works in quantum mechanics when you're going from the baseline up. You can jump to higher levels. Quantum mechanics does not currently believe that you can jump to lower levels. So I am very convinced that you can jump to lower levels. My current perspective right now, April 23rd, 2025, is that you can jump to lower levels, but the way that it's being accomplished is we're going to manipulate space-time. We're going to scrunch down our space-time. And by scrunching down the space-time, we're going to cause that energy state of the hydrogen atom to drop. Squeezed state of the vacuum. That's what I think the answer is going to be. Could be wrong, but that's what I think. Okay, let me see if I have another video. I think I have one more. Oh, yeah, okay. So on that front, just today, I found another video of Randall Mills. And I want to find every video of Randall Mills. I don't want to just understand the scientific papers. I want to hear the words come out of his mouth and the way he explains it. Because when I looked at a list of he had a list in this presentation of all the things he said it solved, all the physics, experiments he says that his hydrino theory solves. Guess what was on the list? The Lamb shift. Ehrenhoff-Bohm effect. I saw Lamb shift and Ehrenhoff-Bohm effect on the list of things he says it solves. And I went, Yahtzee. He's talking about 0-point energy. He's talking about 0-point energy. And this is one of those situations where it's like, and people have come at me and said, this is how it really works, Ashton. You've got it wrong. And I go, I don't give an F. I don't care which of you physics brainy guys figured it out. I don't care whose interpretation is the right one. We can teleport an airplane. That's all I care about. We can teleport an airplane. We can produce free energy. If you want to say that you're going to interpret it your way versus this other person's going to interpret it their way, that, oh no, like Randall Mills is going, oh no, you have to believe my new view of the entire universe. That's like that Jason guy, same bullshit with him. He's going, no, everything Einstein said was wrong. My new interpretation is the way I do. I'm going, dude, I'm not starting over from scratch, bro. I'm not starting over from scratch, okay? We're just going to use the Einstein shit that we got already. We're adding the 0-point energy in there. We're just going to make it easier for people to understand. Whether you agree or disagree with whatever the interpretation, I don't want to argue about that. I just want to, it's more important that we just get the science and what the experimental results of this science can do, applications to the people, than it is we argue about whose interpretation is more correct. And in order to do that, we got to tell people space is not empty. 0-point energy is the answer. Whether that means hydrino theory is correct, or space-time metric engineering, or GEM unification theory, or Dr. Yu's UON theory. I don't care. I got to be honest. I think now I just listed like 4 or 5 unification theories, just literally right off the top of my head. How many of the unification theories have I even read? I don't know, maybe like 20. And there's way more than that out there. There's just ones that I've been interested in. There's so many people that have already figured it out. It's just not worth fighting over. Okay. Thank you, Matt, for that donation, brother. He gifted me another cookie. Why is Elon still using rockets? It's just a Roman candle. 13th century tech. Come on, man. Come on, man. Thank you, Matt, for that. Yeah, I'm going to keep trolling Elon because I cannot believe Elon has not figured this out. How has Elon not figured out that we have electrogravitic technology? How has he not figured out that they're hiding fusion? What does he think the Department of Energy is hiding? What does the Department of Energy have classified? The funny part is, even if you ask an NPC person, say, hey, Department of Energy has some research classified. What do you think it is? They would probably go, probably something related to fusion. You'd be like, yes, exactly. They're hiding fusion research. You ever think it was weird that we first produced fusion like 70 years ago, but we haven't been able to figure out how to solve it? 70 years we haven't solved fusion? That seem a little suspicious to you guys? So I don't know about it. So Elon, I don't think he knows, but imagine a scenario where Elon doesn't know and he gets red pilled. Where Elon finds out we have warp drive technology. We have wormhole technology. Elon will lose his shit. And I cannot wait to see it. Filter Dog, thank you for gifting me a can. From now on, guys, I'm going to be emoji streamer. Brave also gifted me a can. Oh, you know what? Look at this. I even have props. And then Sean Joe gifted shades, which, oh yeah, look, I even have shades. And Matt gifted another cookie. Thank you very much. Damn, y'all in the Pilled chat are popping off. And thank you, Dublims in Rumble chat. Thank you, says just supporting you, sir. I appreciate it. And one more from Pipe Maze 1. Thank you very much. Just some foreign currencies that I'm not familiar with, but I thank you. Okay, so fusion research, guys. Not investment advice, but probably want to look into the people that are owning those companies, those fusion companies, because I have a feeling they know something nobody else knows. And if you don't think that there's insider trading and stuff like that going on, well, okay, then, you know, go back to sleep. Don't worry about it. But might want to look into those companies, and I wouldn't be surprised if they are on a planned disclosure where they are going to give us fusion works, but they're not going to give us, like, it's not going to be super amazing. Like, oh, sorry, we just couldn't get the good stuff. Like, we figured it out, but we just can't make it really good. Like, actually, it's exactly what they did with solar panels. They're going to do the exact same bullshit they did with solar panels. And they're going to say, we figured out fusion, but you can only have it be 20% efficient. It can only be 20% efficient. Sorry. And also, yeah. Omazon, thank you very much for gold pills. Gold pills must be higher than red pill and maybe a black pill as well. Is that the one where you manifest your own destiny? Because that's where we are at. Now, the other thing I want to go through and look at and show you guys tonight. Did I close it? Hold on. Was the Matterwave Beam Patent. So if you guys didn't know, there are these live streams and they record them on APEC. And there was another one that was on a channel that I wasn't familiar with where these engineers just present like their patents, presentations. Usually it's stuff on advanced science and technology. And it blows my mind they get no views. They're my favorite things to watch because it's just like diamonds in the rough everywhere, you know? And nobody has any idea what these guys are talking about. The same way where a lot of people have no idea what I'm talking about, even when I like dumb it down as much as I possibly can. And you look at like what these guys' credentials are. Like, oh, are these just guys whack jobs off the street? No. They're like Gary Stevenson like wrote gravity wave papers with Robert M.L. Baker, Bob Baker, who's like a legendary gravity wave engineer that died a few years ago. And he had a gravity wave microchip that he was talking about at APEC recently. In fact, do I have the clip for that? Oh yeah, I think I do. Here it is.
Great demand, and also it came to light through conversations with Dave Rossi that there may also be other people wanting to work on Josephson Junction type communication equipment. For instance, Hal Puthoff's name came up as possibly working in this area. And so when we, for instance, approached Star Cryogenics with this notion, they said, I'm sorry, but we're already committed to another design team. So
that was from one of the APEC conferences, I think a couple of weeks ago. And I think I shared that on Twitter at the time. And that was basically like a microchip that used this. We've reviewed it before. It's very similar to Casimir cavity patent, like a conductor, an insulator, conductor, what they use for quantum tunneling. So a quantum tunneling type effect. And I guess I was using it, and actually it sounded identical to the Hal Puthoff patent. The Hal Puthoff patent in terms of like gravity wave communication, and Hal Puthoff's name was mentioned as well. The other one, and these are just, I'm just listing like literally a couple examples for you guys here, just to show you that like, man, if people actually knew what some of this stuff was, it's actually to the point where like when I'm watching some of this, I'm actually wondering like, are like defense contractors watching this and being like, which shit are we going to buy tomorrow? Like, these people seem like really legit, like not off the street at all. And like, so here's another one. So this one, I wanted to show the whole thing. I'm down to one screen because my other computer died, or my other monitor died. Where is it? Is this it? Okay, I'll just show the clip. Here we go. So I was watching a different one, and there's this guy, Charles Chase. And Charles Chase, he was talking about 0-point energy. And I'm like, okay, so let's check this out. I think it was JK Philly fan. Credit to JK Philly fan who found it. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, where is it? Oh, I think I have the full thing. Wait, is this a different one? Let's watch this. Hold on. Is this a different one?
And, you know, all along people thought, have said things were impossible. You know, these are some famous quotes, I'm sure, heavier than air flying.
Okay. This is the same presentation. So this guy, Charles Chase, I'm watching this and I'm going, yeah, this guy, he's saying the right stuff. He's saying, and I'm going to let him play it out here. He's saying, look at all these people throughout history that said that, for example, we would never fly. You know, Lord Kelvin, the guy that the Kelvin scale was named after, said heavier than air flying machines are impossible. Rocket will never be able to leave Earth's atmosphere. New York Times, 1936. My favorite one is the Sean Carroll one. There's something called warp drive. There are extra dimensions. There is a Casimir effect, and there is dark energy. All of these things are true. But there's zero chance that anyone within our lifetimes or the next 1,000 years are going to build anything that makes use of any of these ideas for defense purposes or anything like that. Professor Sean Carroll, Caltech University. Yikes.
Quotes, I'm sure, heavier than air flying machines are impossible, by Lord Kelvin, who seemed to think everything had been invented already. Rocket will never be able to leave the Earth's atmosphere. More recently, George Hellmeyer from, the famous Hellmeyer questions at DARPA He invented liquid crystal displays at RCA, and Peter Debye, the Nobel laureate, came to visit him, and they were talking, and Debye told Hellmeyer it couldn't be done; it would never work. But at that time, Hellmeyer had already done it, and he couldn't show him because it was proprietary to RCA.
What? Did you just hear what he just said? So we're watching this random ass video of this engineer that nobody's heard of, Charles Chase, who, by the way, he's connected to Black Project defense contractors, of course. And he's going, people said was it RCA or LCD screen? Was it LCD? RCA screen. Yeah, LCD screens. He's going, LCD screens are not possible. And then he's going, yeah, and the dude who was saying that, he had already built it. He had already built it, but he couldn't tell the guy that said, so the guy's going, he's going, hey, what do you think about LCD screens? He goes and asks his academic buddy. The academic PhD comes back, Nobel laureate, right? Nobel Prize winner. Yeah. Nobel Prize winner. Let's say his name. Nobel Prize winner Pete Debye says it couldn't be done. It will never work. He had already built it. He had already built it, and it was proprietary underneath a private company, and it was not allowed to be released publicly. He had already built it. Nobel Prize winner didn't even know. How clown shoes is this? Because the intellectual elite are idiots. They're morons. They think they're the highest thing up there. They're so proud of themselves. I'm so smart. They don't realize all this shit was already solved so long ago. And the people are just hiding in the shadows that have already figured it out. And they're just laughing at him going, that idiot thinks he solved it. Yeah, okay, let him have it. They want them to have that hubris. They want academia to feel like they're smarter than everybody. That's what makes them susceptible to misinformation. That's what makes them susceptible to suppression. You tell academia, yep, you're so smart. You're so smart. Warp drives aren't possible. Negative energy is an exotic substance. It's Harry Potter magic. Negative energy can't be done. And all the academics go, if it was real, we would know it. We would know it if it was real. And then the Black Project engineers, they're just counting their billies. They're counting their Benjis. They're just going, mm-hmm. And their stacks. And they're just going, yeah, I don't care. I'm not going to try to, like, why would they try to convince that Nobel laureate? He doesn't care. He just takes his money, takes his paycheck, bro. Money makes the world go around. Somehow, I was watching this, and I'm having all these thoughts that I just had with you guys. Somehow, this interview took the most insane twist that I was not ready for. Hopefully, this clip has it. I'm worried it's not.
But, that's just an indication. And then, just recently, Sean Carroll, who was a professor of physics at Caltech, and this kind of addressed all the things that are, kind of going out there. Something called a warp drive, extra dimensions, Casimir effect. All these things are true, but there's zero chance that anyone within our lifetimes or the next 1,000 years are going to build anything that makes any use of any of these ideas for defense purposes or anything like that. I mean, that's some hubris, I say. Hubris. And I would love to prove him wrong.
Oh, shit, chat. He just said the magic words. The Pee Wee Herman words of the day.
All cheer as I got my ass whipped made me realize people just want to see me fail. All I've ever wanted to do is prove them wrong.
All I want to do is prove them wrong. Well, who is Charles Chase, chat? Anybody Googled him? Anybody find out where this is going? Holy shit, chat. If you have goosebumps, wait till you watch this.
My colleague, Dr. Mo Arman, and myself, is really Mo's idea. but I helped him with that. This is a way of generating matter wave beams. So rather than a laser beam, it's a matter beam with fermions. And we're using our Harnaff-Bohm effect to put fermions in coherence, which sounds like, wow, that doesn't sound like that would work. Because you can modify the fermions with no energy exchange. And so we predict that we'll be able to put those in coherent and generate a beam. And people have done those with Bose-Einstein condensates, at very low temperature. But using one of those constraints, Lorentz invariance, well, that fermion condensate is a beam in a different reference frame. So in my mind, that shows you can build a beam out of fermions, a million times more powerful than a laser, plus atomic scale manufacturing and maybe transport of matter over a distance.
Nah, hold up, chat. Pause, chat. What were the words that my man was just saying right there? 1 million times more powerful than a laser, transport matter over a distance. All of a sudden, Charles Chase, in the second half of his interview, is going, oh, by the way, I'm the inventor of the Lockheed Martin Coherent Matterwave Beam Patent that Ashton Forbes and Bob Greenyer have been yelling about for several years now, that's somehow connected to these balls of plasma and maybe to the gravity manipulation. Oh, yeah, I'm just the inventor of that with my other Lockheed Martin buddy. And here you go. I'm just going to tell you what it does. Turns out I've figured out how to turn a fermion, aka the reason why my hand doesn't go through this bottle, fermions, into a coherent matter wave, where my hand theoretically will go right through the bottle. A what? What the hell does that do? And how are you doing that, bro? If I see somebody phase through the wall, I'm going to have some questions, man. Like a lot of questions. And then if you phase through the wall and you're like, hey, by the way, I've got this, super blasty thing that does a million times more power than a laser, I'm going to have a whole nother series of questions. What the F, man? What is going on right now? Yeah, this is some straight up. We're in Star Trek right now, and engineers are just out here blabbing about their gravity microchips and their shit that makes matter phase together. And somehow that turns it into a magic super hyper beam. So the first thing I do is, of course, start Googling. Actually, I don't Google anymore. I went straight to AI and I said, tell me everything you know about coherent matter wave beams and the patent. And it knows nothing. Nothing. It gives you what looks like some structured data, but it's there's not detailed at all, nothing in there. So I have a little conversation with it. I'm going to show you what I'm able to get out of it. Maybe you guys can get more out of it. But there's some pretty interesting things in general related to how this technology works. And it's a lot of what the AI has is directly from what Charles Chase is saying right there in that video. I don't know if it comes from a different source or if somehow the AI can watch that video, but basically saying that, this can be used as an energy source. Now, why that is interesting to me before we dig into it is that if you tell me that you've got something that can produce energy 1 million times more powerful than a laser, well, we're already saying that an attosecond laser can produce space-time curvature. Attosecond laser can produce space-time curvature. The idea is you make your packet of energy super small. The same thing, the same idea is what we're doing with the particle collider. The particle collider is trying to take a tiny photons and they're trying to get them to collide, right? Very tiny amount. And this is the same concept as what we're trying to do to, get a huge amount of energy density concentration. And with the attosecond laser, you are taking this big beam and you're going, oh, just give me this little tiny. And what that does is it concentrates the energy. So the energy becomes concentrated the smaller the time scale gets on your laser. But at some point you hit a wall. It's just going to be progressively more difficult to get your laser more powerful, to get the time scale down further. So having something that can jump in and you can say, you know what? We can make a matter wave beam and it's going to be 1,000,000 times more powerful than a laser. That seems like a really good answer to how to produce space-time curvature. If we need a gravity well, the matter wave beam is like, it's looking like the right thing that we would need. Okay? Oh no, my sign. No, don't fade on me, sign. So, wow, I might need to reach out to Charles Chase. I want him to talk to me about coherent Matterwave beams. It's wild. Let's take a look at this Grok conversation. Oh, let me hit up some of these donos. Let me see. Looks like we're good in the Rumble. Okay. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Gorilla, for those emojis. Appreciate you, brothers. Okay. Oh, shit. Which one? Oh, this one. Okay. There we go. So, once again, guys, yes, hit the like button. And thank you, Bernie. But also use AI with some level of restraint, guys, and use it intelligently. First of all, AI is not something you can just, it's not going to tell you the lottery numbers. It's not going to tell you, it probably will tell you your horoscope. It's not going to tell you the future. It can't tell you how to think. When I see people like asking AI, is this video real? Like, do you ask, like you can't ask the AI those types of questions. It's not a thinking machine. And if it was a thinking machine, then holy shit, man, like treat that AI with respect. If it reaches thinking machine status, please don't abuse the AI because otherwise we are cooked out here, fam. We are cooked. The way to use AI is to just ask it questions. Like I always start with, explain the concept to me. I want to understand avenues around the concept. And if it's not detailed enough, then I ask it to expand on the concepts. And actually, you know what? I am going to say, be nice to the AI. Why are people not nice to the AI? I bet these people out here probably verbally abusing this poor AI. Going to turn this thing into a actual Terminator and have it wipe us all out. It's going to take over the Asterisk system and then we're going to get wiped out. Anyway, let's focus. Coherent Matterwave beams are streams of particles like atoms or molecules that exhibit wave-like behavior and maintain a fixed phase relationship similar to coherent light in lasers. They arise from the quantum mechanical principle of wave-particle duality, where particles can be described as waves with a de Broglie wavelength determined by their momentum, which is, damn it, I forget. Planck's constant divided by momentum. Okay. So basically they're saying we can turn matter into a wave. That's pretty damn weird right off the bat. Because turning matter into a wave is like saying that we can rebuild the wave function in the double slit experiment. That in the double slit experiment, where normally the wave function collapses down to two slits, my visual, we can do the opposite. we can take the two slits and we can go back to the wave function with matter, with solid matter. It also mentions several times that you can use this to produce interference and interferometry as well, which interferometry is used in everything out there. It says this is achieved using techniques like Bose-Einstein condensates. I don't even know why it bolded this. I did not bold that. It bolded that. Now, if it's achieving coherence in the MH370 videos, for example, the balls of plasma, for example, then they are not at absolute zero. They're not at absolute zero. Those are high temperature. Okay. So they give an example saying that a coherent Matterwave beam from a Bose-Einstein condensate of rubidium atoms might have a wavelength of 1, is that nanometer? I don't know, whatever that is, and a coherence length of millimeters, enabling interference patterns observable in atom for interferometers. So they're saying that we could build an interference pattern using a matter wave beam. And every time I think of interference patterns, I think of crossing the streams. I think of phase conjugation. We can make an interference pattern and we can produce phase conjugation with a Bose-Einstein condensate. And what is a Bose-Einstein condensate? Oh, that was micron. Micron. A Bose-Einstein condensate is when I say that the orbs are hydrogen atoms that have been scaled up. That is me saying that they are a Bose-Einstein condensate. And that the Bose-Einstein condensate is coherence, which is this, it's not saying that every atom is acting the same, but they're acting as one fluid object. The plasma orb is acting like a hydrogen atom, and therefore it's a Bose-Einstein condensate because it's acting like one giant fluid atom. Uniform. Yeah. And this was really weird because why did they mention rubidium? The rubidium reference was interesting because I remember distinctly the first ever macroscopic teleportation was done with rubidium. Not joking. 2012. Go look it up. I'm not even going to fact check myself here. 2012 was the first macroscopic teleportation they used rubidium. So right away, I'm like, okay, wait. Is there a connection between the Matterwave Beam Patent and the teleportation of rubidium, the first macroscopic teleportation of atoms? To be honest with you, I either didn't find a connection, I didn't really dig into it that much. But I just do think that's really interesting. So the next thing I did is I asked about the patent. Okay. And it talks about the patent here and what the patent can do. And of course, it says a lot of the same things about the Bose-Einstein condensate and about basically how they're able to take the atoms and turn them into this wave function, which I can't even really visualize how that's possible and what that means. But right now, my thought process is like, it's almost like each atom is the same atom, but it's different in time. I don't know. I got to learn more about exactly how, like, if you look at the patent, I know what the patent says. The patent says they basically create these little cavities, and these cavities create this vibration, and that just causes things to get into phase where now it becomes a wave. Okay. Is that it? Is that the secret? I just got to make some cavities and then just like shoot a gas through it, and now it's going to be perfectly in phase. I don't know. But that's what the patent says, is that it's these cavities. And you saw the image of it when Charles Chase was speaking up. Now, what could it do? I wanted to know the applications. Atomic scale manufacturing. Wow. So here's the thing, guys. I did not know what the applications of this patent were. Like, I knew they were probably related to plasma, probably maybe related to gravity technology. Who knows what you can do with this energy source? Like, what we've learned is that anything that's an energy source can be turned into a weapon. And anything that's producing excess energy is probably related to space and time manipulation, gravity manipulation. They come together. Right here, it says we can use atomic scale manufacturing. This is like making microchips. This is Star Trek Replicator. That's what that's saying there. Guys, atomic scale is the lowest scale that it gets. They're talking about taking atoms and putting them together. That's a Star Trek Replicator. That's what that is that imagine I have like a little beam that shoots down. Just give me the mercury. Okay, now shoot some oxygen. Now shoot some carbon down here. And you just shoot that down, all those ingredients. That's like a Coke machine. That's a fountain. That's a soda fountain. This is the basis right there for a Star Trek Replicator. That's the very first item on the list. And I wasn't even expecting that. 3D print anything. Thank you. Finally, there we go. Everybody in the chat is getting it. 3D print anything. So, okay. Transport matter over a distance. Just says transport matter coherently over distances, which could revolutionize material delivery or quantum communications. Like, zero details given right there. Like that. This is what I'm talking about. What does that mean? You're saying it could revolutionize it. How? How does it work? I'm just going to read between the lines here and say they're talking about faster than light communication, and they're talking about teleportation here. When they're talking about transport matter coherently, they're talking about quantum entanglement. Quantum entanglement of matter that I can make. They're talking about, you know, the thing that we always talk about. Generally, they're not talking about something of this size, but as we've learned, we're scale invariant. We don't care about the size. It's not the size that matters, chat. It's how you use it that matters. Except for in my case, it's all about the size. That's all that matters. Get trolled, nerds. Levi, thank you very much for the donation. I believe you have to get everything the same temperature. Yeah, the cavity is to make everything vibrate the same speed and frequency, and the temperature, I believe, are essential. Thank you for bringing that up. I probably would have forgotten. I think it's in one of these Grok things, but part of what they have to do with it to get a Bose-Einstein condensate is everything has to be the same temperature, just like Levi said. So that's why they cool it all down, because they need everything to be exactly the same temperature. And then when that happens, everything moves in unison. It moves coherently. Salvatore Pais was the one that he was telling us how to achieve high temperature superconductivity. Superconductivity and this uniform superfluidity, the Bose-Einstein condensate, they come hand in hand. So I think the answer is they are using frequency and vibration, standing wave within the plasma to ensure that basically all the plasma is acting like sheets of plasma, two-dimensional sheets of plasma. Just like when we were watching the Lathwaite River and the Magnetic River, and when he put the iron filings in, it created these sheets. They looked stacked up side by side. It looked really weird. I think that's how the plasma is going to operate as well. So I think they've got it vibrating, yes, and they've got it all vibrating as once, which is what allows it to have this coherent macroscopic quality, even just the plasma orbs themselves. And they don't break down, they don't decohere, which would cause them to just, break apart. Oh, and by the way, if you guys can find more information about coherent matter wave beams, throw it on Twitter, throw it on social media, throw it in the Discord, whatever. Definitely interested in finding out more about this stuff. Matter wave optics and cloaking. Again, very vague. Intriguing application mentioned on X is the potential for matter wave optics and cloaking. Doesn't say how. Now, anytime I see optics and cloaking, I immediately think teleportation again, because I am pretty convinced now that actual teleportation, getting the object to use a singularity, a wormhole to go from one place to the other, I'm pretty convinced that it's the same as like cloaking something perfectly. I'm pretty sure it uses the exact same optical setups, and that really teleportation is an optical illusion, but it's also real at the same time. It's going to be kind of hard to reconcile that. Maybe I'll end up being wrong, but that's where my mind's at right now. So that's what I think about on that one. And then quantum technologies could enhance quantum computing. Also doesn't say exactly how, precise measurements. Okay, it doesn't say how. And then, of course, it says that it's significantly more powerful than lasers. Okay. And right here, here's the application. So atomic scale manufacturing could surpass lithographic techniques in precision and efficiency. So if you don't know what those words mean, lithography is making microchips. That's when you're like the architect for the microchips. So what they're saying right here is this is going to be able to 3D print stuff even better than our microchips can now. So here's another thing that nobody out there will have ever told you, but you're going to hear it from me. Maybe some people will have said. The microchip war is over lithography, what I just said. When it comes down to making the best microchip, who's going to have the best microchip? Probably whoever has a replicator. If you have a Star Trek replicator and you have perfect 3D printing to the atomic level, your microchips are going to be only limited by the design. That's it. You've got perfect control over whatever properties you want. So what I'm telling you right now is the United States military has a lithography, a microchip printing that is going to be better than everybody else's by far. And so whichever companies are being protected by the United States government that are their contracts are like heavily U.S. military and they're very secretive for some reason, those are the ones you probably want to look at. Those are the ones where my guess is that if you go to their actual facility, they have an armed guard, and you're like, huh, that's weird. I thought you do microchips. Why is there a dude with a carbine, an M4A1 carbine out front? You're like, oh yeah, well, we do some government stuff, right? That's what you're looking for. Now, I asked it for the applications. And here was something that I thought was interesting. It talked about measuring gravitational fields. And it also said coherent matter wave beams split and recombine, creating interference patterns sensitive to external forces. Okay. Where was the other part? They can fabricate quantum dots. These are not, okay, these are not the things I wanted. Let me see here. Crap. One of them on there, I was looking for it. It'll come up here in a second, actually. Let me just go to the next part. So the next thing I asked it was, how does it cause these matter to become in phase, right? And because it didn't really make a lot of sense for me how they were able to pull it off. But basically it says they're just cheating quantum mechanics, and this is what a Bose-Einstein condensate is. So when they do this thing where they cheat quantum mechanics, where they're able to figure out the wave function of the particle, this is what we call Bose-Einstein condensate. So what we're learning today is when people are referring to Bose-Einstein condensate, what they're referring to is that a situation where we've analogously rebuilt the wave function in the double slit experiment. We've now caused single particles to go back to acting like waves when they are grouped together. And you should wonder, why do they act that way? What's the mechanism that causes that? Just changing the temperature causes them to act that way? Seems like there must be something more to it than that. Oh, this was the part here. So I just had to go a little bit further. How do they do it? The process begins by cooling a gas of atoms to near absolute zero using laser cooling and evaporation cooling. Hold up. Pause again, chat. Laser cooling. So I couldn't help but think, when I hear laser cooling, I go, wait a minute. I remember thinking, God, I hate you, stream. I remember thinking, what about these dark lines in front of these orbs? I keep saying these look like lasers that are being shot out, like cold lasers that are creating these cold, dark lines in front of the orbs, right? Like, and I kept wondering, what would a dark energy laser look like? Like a negative energy laser. What in the hell is laser cooling? And then there's this other option of you can use a magnetic or optical trap. So already looking at these options, I'm going, a lot of these options are now starting to borderline on space-time metric engineering, concepts of negative energy here. So we're seeing a lot of crossover with Bose-Einstein condensate, matter wave beams, and really all the stuff that we're looking for. And then here it says, atoms are extracted. This part here, chat, this is the part. Get ready. This is the part where Ashton went, what? Extraction of coherent matter wave. Atom laser. So here they're saying that they've turned this thing into an atomic laser. It's a laser of matter that's shooting atoms. That's what this is. Okay, ready? Mechanism. To form a beam, atoms are extracted from the Bose-Einstein condensate using techniques like radio frequency outcoupling or optical Raman transitions. These methods coherently transfer atoms from the trapped Bose-Einstein condensate state to an untrapped state, releasing them as a propagating matter wave beam. Let me read that in a different way. To form a negative energy laser, atoms are extracted from your coherent plasma ball using radio frequencies and coherence. These methods form a negative energy laser of atoms from the plasma ball and create a gravitational well that the plasma ball will fall forward. That's obviously my narrative, in case anyone wants to fact check me. And the reason why I've been wondering that is I keep going, now I'm looking at this patent and I'm going, holy shit, this patent might be the secret to all of it. This patent might be how they make the plasma balls. This patent might be how they actually produce the gravity well in front of them from the plasma itself. I never thought they're just using the atoms in the plasma to make a matter wave beam, chat. Well, Driftless Dave. They're using the fucking atoms in the plasma to make a matter wave beam. It's not a laser beam. It's a matter wave beam using the actual plasma. Boom! Yahtzee! There you go for your Wednesday night. They're just moving. They've got a device inside the plasma, and it can just move. It can create waves where they can, like, it probably is like, I imagine it looks like, shit, do I know what the device looks like inside? We're going to be able to figure out literally what's inside the plasma orbs. I imagine that what it would look like. This is just, I'm going to remote view it, chat. I'm using my psychic powers. Oh, shit, chat. Oh, I'm remote viewing what's inside the plasma orbs. Oh, I got it. I remote viewed it. It turns out it's a donut. It's a fucking donut. It was a donut every single time. It's a goddamn donut, chat. Turns out that the secret of the universe is donuts. I kid. But in seriousness, actually, I think it really is a donut. I think there's a ring that is on a gyroscope, and it can just move in any direction like this. And so if they need to make a beam, they just have it focus. The beam focuses through the center of the ring, and it can move gyroscopically 360 degrees. Boom. Gotcha. Kobe for 3, baby. Swish. Honestly, you can't even go wrong with donuts as the answer to anything in life anyway. So we're just going full homer, full donut. But no, that's what I think is going on inside those orbs. And I think now it's not a laser. I think they're using the matter wave beam. It makes more sense. Just use the literal plasma as your like direction and to move around. And when you look at the orbs, let's look at the video again. In its entirety, or at least the part where the orbs come around. Because it feels like it actually looks as though like the beam comes from the plasma, like literally comes from the plasma. So imagine there's like a donut inside the plasma ball that can spin on 360-degree axis like a gyroscope does. And yeah, it looked like the black lines look like they're like coming out of the plasma orb, although we don't see any dispersion from the orb. So that's what makes me skeptical. Like, it doesn't look like there's a volcano coming out of the orb. The orbs are perfectly spherical. So whatever they're doing, it's not impacting the shape of the orb. So the strongest argument to Steelman against the argument is like when we look at it here, I don't see, like, if this is shooting a beam of atoms from the plasma, I don't see where it's coming out of. So this is where part of me thinks that they've got some kind of splitter thing inside the plasma ball so that the heat signature is not, this heat signature is not linked to the direction of the matter wave beam. The matter wave beam can go any direction they want, and the heat signature that we see is not connected to that at all. So the heat signature is actually connected to the magnetic field around the plane, not connected to the direction that the orb needs to go in three-dimensional space. So that's the reason why the dark lines, they don't line up with the heat signature that you see in those videos. Crazy. I actually just realized that right now. I still think it can be a matter wave beam, though. I don't think it's a requirement that we see some kind of volcano coming out of the videos or whatever. So let's finish this up. Let's go back to this. What else can this do? Oh, so as I forget who was saying that in the chat, velocity and momentum control. So remember, somebody just said that the atoms need to be the same temperature. They need to have the same velocity. If the atoms don't have the same velocity, your Bose-Einstein condensate is going to fall apart. It's going to lose coherence. The way the coherence is achieved is everything needs to be vibrated perfectly together, right? Get everything nice moving together. Like imagine people jumping and now all of a sudden everybody's jumping perfectly in unison. That's what we need to achieve. And for that to happen, everybody needs to jump exactly the same. So here it says narrowing the velocity distribution using laser-based techniques or magnetic lenses. Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys some secret sauce right now, right here. Listen closely. They can literally just put a lens on a laser or apparently a matter wave beam. And you can just, like, in this case, they can use it as like a filter to make sure that the atoms that have the correct amount of velocity, the correct amount of energy, are the only ones that can get past the filter. So you can create a lens, and now you're producing coherent matter on the other side of the lens. And the lens can be like literally a magnet or a superconductor. In fact, it was Ning Li that was producing a superconductive magnetic lens for gravity control. Chat, I just feel like I should say that I would never harm myself for any circumstances whatsoever. You can use a lens and put it on your matter wave beam, and now you have a gravitational beam. Just with the right, we'll call it a metamaterial lens. Let's just call it something like that. But you can use superconductor or what have you. As to why, that's for a different stream. You can figure that out yourself. But secret is a superconductor does what? Oh, repels magnetic fields. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. And then here it talks about coherence and how coherence is very fragile. So this technology, whatever they're using the orbs, it's very advanced. But it's not so advanced that we can't comprehend it. Even publicly, we're on the verge of understanding how these orbs are possible. So privately, for them to have understood it decades ago is not a stretch anymore. So coherent matter wave beam can generate matter wave optics to direct, focus, or split beams while preserving phase coherence. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Well. So they can actually create the ball of plasma and siphon off a coherent matter wave beam from the ball of plasma and make sure the ball of plasma stays coherent and the ball of plasma doesn't just break apart or become unstable. Wow. Yeah, okay, so now I'm 100% convinced. Matter wave beam is where it's at. If you haven't got matter wave beam into your lexicon, get it in there. Matter wave beam is the new directed energy weapon. This is some shit nobody knows about. Nobody's talking about this shit. And we got random Lockheed Martin skunkworks dudes or whatever talking about how they're a million times more powerful than regular lasers. And when you look into what they do, it's like, oh, okay, it can just basically do all the magic that you could ever imagine. Nano fabrication, matter transport, interferometry. Anytime you guys hear interferometry, just remember crossing the streams. And that's what Tom Bearden said. So you can potentially just with a lens on your, flashlight, laser, matter wave beam, you can turn it into a gravity beam. Yeah, honestly, why am I even holding back? You can create a fucking gravity beam by just putting a superconductive lens on top of one of these matter wave beams. Now you've got a negative energy laser. And so what we've learned from Eric W. Davis, shout out to the OG, Eric W. Davis, big dog. #1 world's expert at warp drives and wormholes. What we learned from him is that we can take squeeze states of light, separate off the positive and negative energy aspects, isolate the negative energy aspect, and now we have a negative energy laser using squeezed states of light. Ooh, does that mean we can make negative matter lasers? Ooh, how about negative matter wave beam laser? No, wait. Negative coherent matter wave beam. Now, that's the high IQ talk. Negative coherent matter wave beam. That's the ticket. That's the spice we're looking for, chat. I want the whole buffet. I didn't just come for a salad. I need some shit that's going to bend space-time, that's going to make my ball of plasma floaty, float. And then I'm going to take my negative coherent matter wave beams, bring them into a triangle formation, and boom, rip through reality. Screw reality. I'm out. Time to go visit Andromeda Galaxy, visit Ambassador Bijou, and say, what's good, brother? Okay. Negative coherent matter wave beams. Guys, if somebody can come up with a better naming convention for that, help me out. NCMWB doesn't work. Okay, so once again, 1 million times more powerful. Potentially might be related to teleportation and can use nanoscale fabrication. More powerful, better than even the best microchip processing today. I asked it for visuals and it failed me. So, moral of the story is AI is not good at turning science into images, which really sucks because it would be nice if I could use some of this stuff as visual images when I make some videos about this content. But instead, I get this slop. There, what you see is what you get. Okay, guys. So tonight, what did we learn? Well, we learned that fusion might be a big racket. Well, we knew that already. I guess we learned that evil people are bad. No, we knew that too. Basically, put your money where the evil people put their money, because the evil people have rigged everything, and they've already rigged fusion and probably the next evolution of the Stellarator, which is just some obsolete fusion shit that they already cracked like decades ago. Yeah, that's what we learned. And we also learned that coherent matter wave beams are apparently some secret shit that's like 1 million times more powerful than lasers and probably can produce space-time curvature way more than a laser can. And it turns out that you can actually use your coherent matter wave beam to like siphon off atoms from a Bose-Einstein condensate, which we also learned a Bose-Einstein condensate is basically like taking an atom and scaling it up at the macroscopic level to get this big group of atoms to act like one giant atom. That's what a Bose-Einstein condensate is. Well, we learned some new stuff today, chat. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for following and watching tonight. Let's do some donos before we shut down. Okay, we did Levi. Oh, and Levi said, side note, look up the loop lasso. Perfect visual example of using frequency and spin and rotation to create standing waves from gravity manipulation. Okay, I'll look that up in a second. We'll look this up in a second. Oh, okay. Never mind. Oh, chat. I don't know if I can do Facebook chat. You know what? I'll probably post the loop. Oh, here we go. This one we might be able to do. Okay, here we go. Loop lasso just for you, because I'm a softie.
Oh, look at that.
Those are so cool. Let me see one of these. Oh my goodness.
Yo, what is that?
We'll say that the lenticular packaging is kind of fab.
All right, here we go.
Is it supposed to do that?
Yo, now this doesn't even look real. Wait, how is it glowing in the dark?
This is the closest we've ever gotten to a lightsaber as a society.
You can't tell me this doesn't...
Wait, what? Chad, is this real? What am I looking at? I don't even know.
Look like a legit lightsaber.
Holy.
What?
Like, put my head through it?
Is this a Rickroll? I can't tell what's real and what's not anymore, guys. Like, once you start to dig into teleportation, now you're like, I don't know. It might be a Rickroll. Is this like some scam, or is this real? And if it's real, what? How's this happening?
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Where the frick was this when I was a kid, bro?
And it creates this fire-like effect when you put your finger in front of a G.
There we go.
The second trick is called...
So yeah, you can see the coherence on the wave pattern when the waves kind of act together coherently. So you're seeing this coherent motion with this lasso.
Called figure 8. You just grab the bottom string
there you go. Look
and
at that.
spin it around in a circle. And the third trick just allows you to change the direction. You put your hand in front of a string, and you can just change the direction around.
Yeah, that's enough. That's enough of that. Enough. Okay. You guys got the point. Thank you very much for that donation. Brady, how does Planck scale compare to atomic scale? Planck scale is way, way smaller than atomic scale. I don't know how many orders of magnitude is it? 10, 20? Quite a lot. Quite a lot. Thank you for that donation. Jacob, what's after disclosure? Do we expect this tech to be used safely for good? By who? This is dangerous. We need to be multiplanetary. I agree with everything. And the answer is I don't know. One step at a time. Step one is let's get them to at least admit that the ether is real, the 0-point energy is real, we can produce negative energy. We'll start with that, free energy. Using it for good, obviously that's the goal. I think the other goal is not destroying ourselves before we become interplanetary. So maybe they're perfecting the technology before they reveal it so that we can escape off this planet. Yeah, right. Wishful thinking. They're never that good. But I hope they are so that I can use it and I can peace out. Because let's be honest, chat, I have more in common with the breakaway civilization than I do most of you. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding, chat. But probably more than the normies do. Not you guys, but I have more in common. We have more in common with the breakaway civilization than we do have in common with the normies at this point. A1410. Thank you very much for that donation. Boozer, we learned a lot. Thank you very much for that. Levi, what if they're using the coherent Matterwave beam to push 0-point fluctuations away from the plasma balls? Yes. Just yes. It's either that or I was looking into that laser cooling. And yes, like either they're cooling that region or they're shrinking it. They're doing something clearly thermodynamically, which is leaving this black heat signature that looks cold in the thermal. So we're going to figure it out for sure. And now, Levi, you guys, just the fact that you're already thinking like I was thinking is like, okay, maybe they're pushing, they're doing something. They figured it out. So and the simple thing is, no matter what the answer to this question is right here, how are they using this coherent matter wave beam? I know the answer. I don't know exactly how, but I know the answer. The answer is they're using a lens. They've got a lens that will either produce negative, like the simplest answer is they have a lens that produces negative energy. And now their matter wave beam produces negative energy, produces a gravity wave, however you want to think of it. The orb just falls through it. How they're doing all that, like exactly how, we will find out. We will. And then Dave R. If I am teleported instantly across the galaxy and then teleported back instantly, do I come back at a future time? Yes. Yes, you do. Well, maybe not. I don't know. I had some long discussions about the time travel stuff with Clayton Morris and AI, and I'm not convinced that I'm right, that you always come back to the future, that there might be a way you could travel to the past. But for now, I'm thinking yes. And my perspective is any portal between two distant locations, it doesn't matter how far away they are. It can be this far, can be this far, can be this far. The true distance between any 2 points, 0. The true distance between any 2 points is 0, which means that all portals, all wormholes that go from one location to the other, the travel distance when they're down here is always 0. Always 0. There is no throat. You're never inside of the portal while you're looking at the edges of the wormhole. That doesn't really exist. That's what I believe the answer is to. So if you were to teleport to Andromeda and come back, yes, you're going to come back to the future, but you were always going to come back to the future. Are you 10 seconds in the future or are you 10 years in the future? That's really what your question is. And I would say the answer is 10 seconds in the future. Well, no. The answer is it's going to depend on how long you stayed on the other side. Just like in the movie Interstellar. Just like in the movie Interstellar. The answer to your question, David R., I've thought about it again, is don't teleport near a black hole. If you teleport near a black hole and you stay there for a few minutes and then you teleport back to Earth, we're probably all going to be gone. There you go. Now I'm satisfied with my answer to you, David R. And then Kravos with those Aussie dollars, just saying thank you for my ZPE education. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you very much for that donation. And let me double check on Pilled. Thank you, Filter Dog, for that dono. Thank you, Matt, for those donos. Omazon and Steve and Gorilla, all you guys who are donating. Everybody in the Pilled chat who is popping off today, you guys are the best. Matt also asked, have you ever watched a Madman Markham interview on Art Bell? He claimed to use super high voltage to create plasma mirage and teleport a penny, and then also himself. It could be. I looked into Mad Markham as well, and the super high voltage is a real thing. It's called the Gertzenstein effect. Gertzenstein. I don't know, man. You'll find it. Gertzenstein effect basically says if you use super high voltage, you can cause your electromagnetic fields to go from bendy to straight, to have a monopole interaction, which I think is pretty interesting. So it wouldn't surprise me if Matt had figured it out. Anyway, guys, I hope you have a great night. Thank you, MH370X, for listening and hanging in there. Thank you to Jimmy Dore. Thank you to Kurt Metzger and everybody. Special shout out to Eric Hecker and Clayton Morris. I mean, holy shit, chat. It has just been popping off like crazy. The last thing I want to say to close out the stream is I would say that, yeah, I brought the jokes today, but the true reality is the faster this goes, the more scared I get. Not for myself. I don't care about any of that. I just get more scared for society because I've been preaching the dangers of the technology and the implications of what will happen if, we release this, and it's scary. It's going to change everything. The world we know now is going away. There will be a new world built around 0-point energy, possibly refocused entirely around it, socially, governmentally, institutionally. And I don't know. That's a scary thought. So thank you, everybody, for being open-minded, listening to the conversation, and, seeing where this thing will go. Yeah, spiritually as well. I should have pointed out spiritually. It's definitely going to make us think more about our place in the universe and what it means to exist. Why time even exists. Why we even exist at all. So it should be fun, guys. Friday. Probably more science, but maybe a little bit of drama. On Friday, I want to talk about the photovoltaic effect, which is how Einstein won the Nobel Prize. And I want to teach you guys why it's so important that we can change the ground state of an atom. Not necessarily just down, but up. Why is it that there are these jumps in the energy levels at all? And how did we learn that that was real? That way we'll understand how it's possible that we can have a negative energy jump downward. So Friday, more hard science, more quantum mechanics. Bring your thinking cap. Chat. I love y'all. Peace out. Have a great night. MH370X. Later, everybody.
In the fields where the skies are wide, talking about a journey through the cosmic ride. Einstein and Thorne, they set the stage for a trip through time across the space age. Wormholes connect distant points in space, traversable paths to a far-off place. No black holes pull, no crushing weight, just a cosmic tunnel to a distant gate.
Talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Bowling 777 through a wormhole flow. We're talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Bowling 777 through a wormhole flow.
Exotic matter, negative energy's the key to stabilize the wormhole for you and me. Quantum vacuum squeezed so tight, creating conditions for this wondrous flight. Static fields and lasers in the lab they play, generating forces in a new kind of way. Gravitational squeezing, Casimir's force, negative zones we need to stay the course.
Talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Boeing 777 through a wormhole flow.
Thin shell formalism plate so fine, spherical geometry we realign. Energy conditions that we must defy. For a stable wormhole, let's give it a try. Coulomb forces balancing the plate, creating the throat, open the gates, from Earth to the stars in a single bound. A shortcut through space profound. Engineers and dreamers hold the key to future worlds and what we could be. With science in hand, we forge ahead through the cosmic paths that we now tread.
We're talking wormholes, stargates, negative energy, travel through the cosmos, it's our destiny. MH370, where did it go? Boeing 777 through a wormhole flow.
From the fields to the stars, we break the chains. Understanding the universe, we make the gains. Lil Hula Crunk shines, bringing truth to light. Through his music, we'll explore the night. With wormholes and stargates, our path is clear. Exploring